Yes, so like Doro probably told you, I have just to give you some context before I start to show you some of my work, I just want to give you some of my background. And I studied classical ballet for 13 years and contemporary dance. And then when I was 19, I realized I didn't want to be a dancer. And I I did not want to be on stage. I just was feeling like really, I had this phobia for being watched. And so it was clear that I should not be a dancer. But I knew that I wanted to create, but I just didn't, I was getting more and more interested in visual art and also in literature. I wanted to write, and I kind of wanted to be a writer. But also I was thinking of going into art school to study visual art. But the thing is, like with sort of people with classical background in classical ballet or in classical music, they have this it's very common that they're perfectionists.
Yeah.
Because you maybe know, because you're always like, there is like a right way to do things, and there's like a way that is not correct, and there's like not really, it's not a matter of taste so much, it's really the right and wrong way. And I really wasn't interested in that anymore. Like I wanted to just make work and not so much focusing on the craft, first. Maybe that came later. Anyway, so when I was 23, I gathered enough. I realized that if I would study choreography and make pieces from scratch on stage, then I could combine all these interests in visual arts and writing and my background in dance. So I applied for this choreography program in Arnhem in Holland, an art university there, and I went there when I was 23 and studied choreography. And in my studies, I was really experimenting a lot and doing, sometimes the pieces I was making were very conceptual and there was hardly any movement in it, and my professors kept saying, why don't you just change into the visual art department? But I still kind of felt I wanted to use my background in dance and explore that. More. So that's kind of my background. And now, so in a way, I am sort of cross-disciplinary my interests are very cross-disciplinary and what I've been working with. And I often work alone, but I also collaborate with other artists from different fields. And I might just show you, my website is divided into performance, visual art, and writing. And I'm just going to focus on the performance section. From the things I'm going to show you are from the performance section. Okay. So, just to show you, this is my graduation piece. It was called Strength Through Embarrassment. Mm-hmm. And it's where I just, we were two performers, and it was just about putting myself in many embarrassing situations and trying to work through them. So in the way they make me stronger and to find the strength through the vulnerability and embarrassing situations. And in different ways, through different, it's a bit slow maybe, but I wasn't really going to show you anything from that piece, but just this title, Strength Through Embarrassment, in a way, it could be the undertitle of all my work since. They have a title, and you could always have the undertitle, Strength Through Embarrassment, because I'm really often seeking to work with things that I've never worked with before, or materials I've never worked with before, or working with music or instruments. I don't play an instrument, and I've never learned to play an instrument. So to go into fields where I'm a total amateur and try and find the way where I can find my own way through that medium. and it's almost like a ongoing therapy for me. This piece here is the first piece that I, in a way, kind of the first sort of professional piece that I created since after I graduated, and it was a group that I was in for a few years. We made 2 pieces together, and it was a collective of actors and choreographers and visual artists or designers and musician. And we were all sort of like, had just graduated, and we wanted to create our own work where there was no director. We were all just, all of us were the director and performers. And it was called Humanimal, where we were like exploring like or comparing the animal to the human and what we share and what the difference is, and it was like physical theater piece. And there I really started this kind of, you could call it a method or an approach where the material that we used was clothes, and that was the only objects that were seen kind of on stage. And the set was only made from clothes, and we used the clothes during the whole rehearsal period. We just did a lot of improvisation with clothes, and all the scenes sort of incorporated. We're using clothes as a way to, the piece was made through clothes, kind of. We made 2 pieces together, but then we split, and that was good. It was just, I learned a lot from it, but it's also hard work to be in a big group like this, and everyone is the director, and everyone has the best idea. But it was a really great experience as well. I can show you.
What year is this?
This is 2009. So long time ago. I can show you a trailer if you would like to see.
Were you all dancers?
No, only 2 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And see Friðrik Friðriksson, you were meeting him.
Oh, and
He was part of it.
Yeah, he was actually in the group, and halfway through the rehearsal period, we decided that we needed an outside eye. Like we needed someone outside to look and just give feedback. And that became Friðrik's role.
Ah.
So he was actually not in the show in the end.
In the end,
But
okay.
he was in the whole process and yeah. So he's coming today.
Yeah, we'll meet him in Kjallarvík.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
School. So what I was talking about that I think it's important for me to to choose a material and just to work with that from the beginning, from like the first rehearsal, because so often in theater I find that set design and objects, they come in like later, like they come in like halfway through the rehearsal period. You've just sort of been miming with some things, and then I feel like you miss the opportunity to really explore the object and the material and to really integrate it into the show. So for me, it's like a kind of like a rule that the things that I'm working with, they are there from day one in rehearsals, so that I can actually find something new in them. And yes, and this is a piece I wanted to show you because it's created in a residency, 8-month residency that I received in 2010 in Hamburg, in a theater called Margre, and it's a really great opportunity. It's such a long time to just research, and there I applied with the concept. I wanted to explore a misunderstanding in through language, through movement, and through images. And I decided, knew from the beginning that I wanted to explore the visual misunderstanding through mirrors, to create these optical illusions and to create also a misunderstanding within the audience, because you don't have a single perspective. You have like, say, 100 members in the audience, and each of them has their perspective. They see different images reflected in the mirrors. So it would create a misunderstanding in the audience. Like people that were sitting on the right side, they would start laughing because they saw something reflected in the mirrors that the ones on the left didn't see. So the ones on the left didn't understand the others were laughing. And yeah, things like that. I'll just show you some pictures and might show you a little bit. And for this piece, I decided to, there was like budget to invite people to collaborate with me, and for the last 2-3 months of the 8 months period. So I invited 2 of my favorite performers, Saga and Danny, and then I invited Elín Hansdóttir, who you will also meet. She's a visual artist, and this was the first time that she made something for the theater. 2 years earlier, she had invited me to work with her for an exhibition in Berlin in a gallery. So we created that from scratch, this video installation there. And now I invited her to come and do set design and costume. So we have been working with the mirrors, and then Elín came and she finished it with me. This is an example of the optical illusion, for example. I am lying here behind this curtain, lying like this, looking into this mirror. And on stage it just looks like I'm coming out of the darkness. And this was like this puzzle. It's called the Andromeda puzzle, and it's like a miniature puzzle that Elín, the scale is scaled it up, yeah, and it's in the form of the puzzle in the beginning, and then we take it apart and we use it throughout the whole piece. We're rearranging the blocks, and they serve as like stands for the mirrors as well. And the piece started with like a half-an-hour monologue where I talk about a massive, serious misunderstanding in my life that happened. And I talk about it for half an hour. I'm not gonna go through that now. Yeah, and then it was also about creating, yeah, I'll show you actually a little video from this scene later. So I won't explain it too much.
This looks strange.
Yeah, like images. Yeah, then we created characters that had their distinctive voice and stories to tell. Yeah, I think because it's like downloading so slow, I will just show you the video clip. You can also look at it on my website. There are some pictures from the research period where we're just exploring in the studio. There are some images from that period of the. But I wanted to show you a little piece. So, I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to.
Hey, do you ever think about the size of things in the universe?
Yeah.
Pretty crazy, huh?
Yep. I try not to think about it too much. It makes me nervous when I think about it always.
But you know how many times the Earth fits inside the sun, right?
No.
Guess.
Maybe 50 times.
The Earth fits inside the sun 1,000,000 times.
Wow! 1,000,000.
Yeah. And imagine we're just talking about our solar system.
Yeah,
Then there's infinite other solar systems.
right.
What's that that super sophisticated telescope? What's it called? That doesn't matter. Anyways, they focused this telescope on one random black spot in outer space.
Yeah.
And they just left it there for 11 days. And the image that came back contained 1,000,000 galaxies.
Okay. But why always 1,000,000? Everything is 1,000,000. I can't take it seriously, like it's not so specific. I can't take it seriously when everything is 1,000,000.
Yeah, these extraordinarily large numbers are difficult for human beings to grasp.
Wow! I was suddenly having this feeling that I was in Denmark. What? You know, guys, I've been having this feeling lately that I'm existing in more than one place at the same time. Like parallel reality or something. Or time travel, no, what's it called? Like a double.
So when she says this, like I feel like I'm existing in more than one place at the same time, then actually in like, I think 3 of the mirrors, she was reflected from one perspective. You know, from a certain area in the audience. You could see her you don't see it from the camera's perspective. And also we were like revealing the trick, you know, in the mirrors behind, you see the standing leg. So you can sort of, as an audience, you can choose, like, am I just gonna go into the illusion and believe this is the reality, or do I focus on the trick behind it, or, you know, like, the revealing at the same time as we are showing something that the body cannot physically do. And also trying and mixing it with this conversation, which is so banal, like about things that we will never understand and never grasp, and impossible to kind of almost talk about at the same time as we're doing things that are impossible to do with the body. I'm not going to show you anything more from this piece, but I just wanted to give you an idea.
Við byrjum alltaf bara aðeins hérna, bara eins og þú veist komfí.
Já. Ég kannski tala 2 verk við.
Já, ekki spurning.
Já. Hérna, and then I wanted to show you just a short trailer from this piece, which the mattress piece, which I made with a friend, Saga Sigurðardóttir, who's also a choreographer. We created it for the dancers department at the Art University, the graduation group, and it was the same method where we got these mattresses from day 1 in rehearsals, and like probably for 4 weeks we were just exploring the mattresses, their bodies with the mattresses, and endless improvisation sessions with that. And from that, the piece was created. So there was the only thing that we went into the rehearsal period with was like these women and these mattresses. No idea of where it would lead us, or what we wanted to say, or like there was nothing. We didn't know what we wanted to say. We just wanted to explore the material. And sorry, I'm such an amateur computer person. It's also not my computer, so it's like we're not speaking the same language. Yes. And it's of course created in close collaboration with the women. And then we hired one male drummer. So the music came from him. I think that was most of the music was coming.
Did you perform with them?
No, we were just directly. Yeah. There's a really, so it's like, they're inside the mattress. It's playing with like the physicality of the mattress, and like sometimes they became mattresses and the mattresses became had more human-like qualities.
Did you do things differently every time, or?
No, it was completely set. There was nothing improvised in the. We showed it actually in Hafnarhús, in the Hafnarhús later, but initially at the National Theatre.
And how does the theme and the meaning and what you want to say, it's born in the process? Because that's quite interesting for me, as you said, because we usually start with what we want to say
Exactly.
and how we're gonna say it, but your approach is totally the opposite. So how you find the theme and the meaning of it?
It's somehow like it just sort of rises up gradually. Like you like many improvisations, they just sort of, they
Get lost.
and that's okay. You still learn from it, and that sort of like that also like informs them, the performers, of what is interesting and they always get deeper and deeper and further with the material. So, and it just somehow happens that like a theme rises up, but I think this was just so much about playfulness, and it was also about like what did they want to. We were really focusing on them as performers because it was like their graduation show, and so I would say playfulness in the end is just what it was about, and of course something very. I mean, there were scenes. There was like text in it as well, and there were some little personal stories being told, but always through like a playful way, an interaction with the mattresses. And we were also using mics to mic up sounds, like textures and sounds from the mattresses. And I will show you a short trailer.
It's confusing women because they don't have anyone to be attracted to. It's a disaster.
There's no one left to be attracted to. Like, we woke up one day and we're like, right, today we've decided as a society that masculine men are bad and they should be banned.
Interesting.
Ég held þetta að vera auglýsing, ég var alltaf að bíðast þetta með hægt.
She thought it was an ad.
What about the message?
Men work because of birth control.
It's always pixelated, but you get the idea. We're building a house from mattresses.
What that means,
Áferð is like means texture. Can also be like áferð is to be sort of like on the
road? No, on the. Not on the road though.
On the way.
Yeah,
Movement.
On the way.
Moving. Yeah.
Áferð.
lastly, I just wanted to talk about a little bit about my relationship with music, because I was saying earlier that I don't play an instrument, and this, like, because I'm interested and I've worked with so many art forms, and music has always been like thing that is like, I don't know it, and it's like mysterious to me, even though it's something we hear every day and all that, and I almost like, I rarely worked with music in my pieces. Like, it was often just silence, because in dance it's very common that music is like such a big part of dance pieces, and they can really like make a scene that is just mediocre, and then you put like an amazing song on top, and suddenly the scene is amazing. Yeah. And I never wanted to use this crutch that music can be, so I was like trying not to use it for this in this cheap way. So often pieces would just be kind of almost silent, and I'm kind of getting over this slowly. I think it's beautiful to use music. It was like something that I denied myself from using for a long time. But a way to approach music and to sort of become friendly with it, I started to make, the first piece I made was a bass guitar piece with, again, my friend Saga, where we learned some
bass.
We learned some chords on the bass guitar, and Úlfur Hansson, he's a composer. He wrote the music, and it's like a half-an-hour piece where we just travel in unison across the stage with our bass guitar, and we just move very slowly and synchronized and play the music with like huge amps behind us, and it was like very drony and really loud, and the skin was like shaking. People in the audience, it was like very, I don't know, the word visceral, or anyway, it was just very physical. That was the piece from 2009, and then later I did a solo, which was a drumming solo. I took drumming lessons. It's like the instrument that I've always really wanted to play is the drums, and I took some lessons, and then I did like I did the drumming solo. I was a bit like a drum troubadour, and I was asked to do the opening ceremony for this performance festival with Reykjavík Dance Festival and Local, which is the theatre festival. And it's mostly text, and then I sit on the drum kit the whole time, and then when my language like fails, when I don't know what to say, I start drumming. And it becomes this sort of kind of crutch for me, the drum kit. And later I invited 2 people from the audience to come and close their eyes, and I was going to play, and they should only move if they felt like moving to them, if I was actually giving them some sort of groove. So they were just sort of moving, and it did happen for a short minute, and then it collapsed. And
you still play, right?
I don't have a drum kit anymore. I have to.
What about the bass?
No, it's like all these little love affairs that I had for some time, and then we break up. No, I think I will return to the drum kit because I really enjoy it, and something really about there's a relationship there to the dancer and the coordination, and it's just you really get a kick out of. And then in 2017, my friend Ragnar Kjartansson, who's a visual artist, he asked me to make this piece with him, and he just showed me like a drawing of a ballerina in a tutu with a guitar, and he just says, I want to make this piece. And it was, he had been asked, he's a visual artist, but he had been asked by the Iceland Dance Company to make a piece. And not a choreographer, and he's like never worked with dancers, so he wanted to make it with me. And so these are the dancers from the Iceland Dance Company, only the female dancers. And none of them played the guitar before we started working. So they started learning some chords, and Bryce Destner, he's a guitarist in a band called the National American Band. He wrote the music, and he wrote it for this piece, and he wrote it for the dancers. So he has worked, his sister is a dancer, he's worked with dancers before, and he knew that like the dancers' kind of superpower is that dancers are really good at counting. Counting music and like counting rhythmically, and they really can like have complicated patterns. Keep them here, and and he used that as a superpower, kind of like, so he could make rhythmically kind of complex songs, even though they had never played the guitar before. But they were really hardworking, and they learned the music in a way really fast. We were working for 8 weeks, I think, but not full hours. Like it was insanely, in a way, short time that we had.
You have a video of this?
Yes, I'm going to show you.
Do you have a video of the bass team?
No, I don't have a video. Not with me, no.
What's with the bass team?
Sorry. Pretty basic, the piece, yeah, it's called. I'm going to show you, do I have time to show maybe 10 minutes from this? Or is that too long? This is the last thing that I will show.
Yes, no, you have time for that.
Kjartan Ragnarsson is one of our best known, Ragnar Kjartansson is one of our best known visual artists, and he does different pieces. He had just opened, is it an exhibition or a concept installation, or what was it in Moscow?
Yeah, big exhibition.
An exhibition in Moscow based on the American show Santa Barbara, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of the pieces was
One of the pieces was that, and you know, it was shortly before the war broke out. I think it was maybe 2 weeks, 1 or 2 weeks before, or a month. I mean,
maybe a 1.5 months, I think.
1.5, yes.
But then, for example, we were going to show this piece on tomorrow. We were about to fly to Moscow to perform it in the museum. I think it was 4 days before, after the
war
broke out. We were supposed to be flying.
It's a very well known, it's a big, I mean, he's invited to big museums all over the world. This one is a new one, I think, was just opened by Putin, you know, very recently, and
So I skipped the first 1.5 minutes because it starts very slowly.
One thing I know, but it's better in Bulgaria for sure, is the internet.
Yeah. Last minute. Nei, það bara sjá. Okay, you get the idea. There is the piece is half an hour long, and it gets sort of like rhythmically more and more
Complicated.
Yeah, and kind of louder.
You
I was showing you the gentle.
Okay.
Is it on your website video?
No. It's actually just a kind of a. We made last summer. We made a video piece out of this. It's like you can show you just like pictures from it, but we made like a video installation, which is great because now this piece can travel all over the world, and it's so nice also for me because I'm so used to just making stage work that you know how it is. You show them a few times and then they disappear into eternity.
They really do sound like one person.
Yeah, they're really good after short. How long time did they have?
Yeah, like 8 weeks. They started learning the chords a little bit before that, but yeah, they were really. This is the video piece. You see, it's amazing. Anyway, it's like 6 screens, and they're in a circle. So we filmed it like there were 6 cameras in the center of the space, filming in all directions, and so I had to re-choreograph it in a circle. So the perspective was.
There.
Yeah. So you can see here how it is in the space, like all around. So they are traveling between screens. So it's a very different experience, but it's the same music and essentially the same choreography, just adapted. Yes, and after this No Tomorrow piece, I have continued working with musicians. Yeah, after this, like Björk asked me to. She was releasing a new album called Utopia with 7 flute players, and she wanted to go on tour with the flute players. So she wanted me to choreograph their movement. So then I got to this experience of working with, from the other side. So I was working with classically trained, really professional flute players, but they had to learn how to move while playing. And what was helpful for me there is that I had done this with the dancers, and them being, they're really similar creatures, dancers and flute players. They have this perfectionism that I talked about. So there's like, I knew that there would be this period in the rehearsal period where they would become like total amateurs, and they would become so frustrated that, you know, they were learning to play the guitar while dancing, and suddenly they're just like really bad dancers, and they haven't felt like bad dancers for a long time. And I knew that there would be this like pathetic period in the rehearsal period that they would get over. And the same happened with the flute players. They felt for a while quite frustrated when they were combining the two, the playing and the moving, because it's obviously a totally different coordination. And then I continued working with Björk for the Cornucopia tour, which was also with the flute players. So they had to learn the music by heart and do, in some cases, quite some complex things.
Wow.
I had to step in for one concert. This is me.
Were you playing the flute?
No. The thing is, they couldn't hire flute players because no one could learn the movement in such short time. And because I knew the movement, I I just mimed the flute. They've never done it before. I just had to do it, but it was in front of like 20,000 people in London. It was really the most surreal thing I've done in my life. Yes. Okay, I think that's it.
Excellent. Tack fyrir. We will send you a link also to Margre's website. You can be in contact with her as well. As you said, you also do some visual art.
Yeah.
As well.
Yes, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I don't know in which category to put if I do visual art or performance. But sometimes it is quite clear. Like you can just look at it later. But some things that I've been making, like I did a watercolor exhibition, which was purely just watercolors and these glass pieces, and then I've made music videos. These are 2 music videos I've made, where I use the mirror again, like so. Things from the stage work, they creep up in different places. Like this is a video. No, this is a photographic series that I did with the same mirror from that research, but shot in Iceland. Yeah.
Aile, tack. Any more questions?
No, it's very interesting. We'll definitely go on your website
Excellent.
and find you on social media.